shadows of the White House, a silent puppeteer pulls the strings of power with an unseen hand so clear. A foreign influence that's whispered in the ear, shaping policy and fate without a speck of fear. The land of the free, where freedom's torch shines bright, but behind the scenes a different story's told tonight, of power and control, of manipulation and might, where the voices of the people are drowned out by the night. The special interest groups with their lobbyists and sway shake the narrative to fit their own agenda's way. The politicians dance to the tune of their pay as the people suffer and the system decays. The questions asked, who's really in control? Is it the government or a power that's more subtle and cold? The answer's unclear, but one thing's for sure, the influence is real and it's leaving its mark for sure on the streets of America where the people reside. A sense of discontent is simmering and won't subside. The feeling's growing that the system's rigged and worn, and the people are crying out for a change to be born. The bond between the nations, a union so strong, upon the shifted spores and shed interest all day long. From the halls of Congress to the streets of Tel Aviv's might, a connection that's deep and a relationship that's tight. The lobby's influence, a voice that's loud and clear, shaping policy and law without a speck of fear. The pro-Israel stance, a bipartisan creed, a commitment that's unwavering, a bond that's hard to read. The reasons are complex, the motivations are deep, a mix of politics, history, and a shared destiny to keep. The Holocaust legacy, a guilt that's hard to shake, a sense of responsibility that's hard to fake. The strategic alliance, a partnership that's key, a bond that's forged in a region that's volatile and free. The U.S. and Israel, a relationship that's strong, a bond that's built on shared values and a common song. But at what cost? This partnership's so dear, a cost that's paid in the blood and tears of the people in the region who suffer and bleed, a cost that's borne by the innocent and the meek. In the shadows of the Capitol, a silent voice is heard, whispering policy, shaping laws, and bending words. The Israel lobby's might, a force so bold and strong, influencing decisions that impact lives all wrong. From foreign aid to diplomacy, their interests are key. A pro-Israel stance that's unwavering, don't you see? The politicians nod and the checks are signed as the people's interests are left behind. The system's rigged and the game's on the play, where the rich get richer and the poor pray for a better tomorrow, but it's hard to see. When the system's broken and the future's uncertain, it's plain to me. The influence is real and it's here to stay, affecting lives and shaping the way. The U.S. and Israel, a bond so tight, but at what cost? And who's paying up?
Well, all right. As always, the conversation continues. And we're talking about what's on your mind. We welcome to the Lion's Den, the grand ultimate and truthality social media experiment. We want to thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher, and we give honor to the Lord in Christ, move all positive thoughts flow. And as always, you're listening to the original sounds, original music, and concepts and constructs by the seventh answer Lady Karima. Give her kudos and give her accolades for her thoughtful and insightful work and the visions the Most High is giving her in the femininity principle of wisdom. Now, as always, when you tune to the Lion's Den, you know the seven eyes, the formula that makes this machine and experiment work so beautifully. You know, we come with intelligence, all right, which means that you now are going to be required to put on your thinking caps, put on your intellectual vitamins and minerals, and be able to think for yourself and see for yourself. And from intelligence, we're going to graduate into what? The production of information. You know, all types of events that are transpiring and happening here nationally, internationally, and from the spiritual and in the spiritual dimension as well. All right. This is where you now get to put on your intelligence to be able to disseminate what information is true and what isn't true. Disseminate between what is a lie and what is indeed actual facts, the frequent, accurate, correct truths. And so from intelligence into information, we go into what? Insight. Again, a deeper level of thinking. Because everything is always spiritual. All right? It's always spiritual first and foremost. So now you have to use your insight to be able to, again, on your independence, which is the fourth eye, your independence, you have to make sure that from start to finish, day to day, whatever you hear, whatever someone is teaching you or showing you, that it is indeed provable, is indeed, again, source and fact filled, and will bring you to a higher level. Okay? And then from there, of course, we go into what? We go into what? Of course, integrity. Because see now, you have to make sure that the seventh answer and your boy here, Dark Storm, I got a little brain freeze there for a hot second. Dark Storm or Baby Hebrew. You have to make sure that we are bringing you the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth. Now, of course, you know we are, but still, we don't want you to just take our word for anything that we say here. We want you to get up off your duff, your abacatuskis, your booty, and again, get out here and explore and investigate for yourself, which of course leads to what? We hope that we can bring about your inspiration. All right, inspiration. And to inspire you means that we want to make sure that you understand, you out there in Lion's Den land, that it's time for you to put on your gifts given to you by the Lord in Christ. If you're believing and practicing Israelite, or if you are beginning to take this walk, okay? Because understand that as we are watching this world come to a very prophetic and brutal end, it is our time now. Make no mistakes. It is our time as the true Jews, the real Jews, the children of Israel, to take our rightful place back into the world structure. See, sometimes we always often hear that we're the Lord's chosen. But what were we chosen for? From the beginning. And albeit, unfortunately, we've had to suffer 14 captivities because we, the children of Israel have been so disobedient. But what were we chosen for? We were chosen to rule, regulate this entire world and perhaps unknown galaxies under the laws and the commandments of the Holy Bible. That is why we were chosen, to be the governance. We have to understand when we say we're the chosen, make sure we clarify what we were chosen to do. But unfortunately, these number of centuries and 14 different captivities, we've been taking too many detours because there are too many of us among who have this boneheaded notion to want to squander the privilege the Lord has bestowed upon us. But be that as it may, there's still those of us who are dedicated. And so without integrity, without inspiring you, we hope to influence you all to now walk with pride. Walk with us in pride, righteous pride. Because when you roll with the lions, you got to roll with pride. And what pride are we talking about? You have to be always ready, willing, and able to be permanently ready in destroying evil, starting with your own. See, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, and I, as always, you hear us say, we don't walk around here like we're super Israelites, we're super righteous on some level. No, we are striving to be moral, a moral man and moral woman in this work and calling. We're that diamond with a flaw, but still, you chip away that diamond flaw, you one day will get perfection. But even though a diamond may have a flaw, it's still valuable. It's still of value. And there it is. Better to be a diamond with a flaw than a perfect pebble, which is a metaphor for someone who's a faker. You know, when you have that perfect pebble, you toss it in the air, and when it comes down, it smashes into a million pieces. So it is that fake, brother, a sister, Mr. and Mrs. Goody, Mr. and Mrs. Goody Two Shoes. And then when push come to shove, and when the proverbial genetic trash hits the fan, they're the first ones to bail out on you. They be the first ones to be that faker and phony. So again, we walk with pride because we're permanently ready in destroying evil, starting with our own. And of course, here in the Lion's Den, we're one of the many factions of the anti-coon movement. And you know what a coon is. C-O-O-N. A complete, obvious, obedient, yes, a boss, nigga. We don't do that here. There's no buck dancing, no big black buck, no bed wenching, no handkerchief head, no samboing. We don't do that here. Why? Because the seventh answer, Lady Karima and myself, Dark Storm, we can't be bought, and more importantly, we're not going to be sold. And this is also the home of point counterpoint, which is another way of saying debate. Sometimes we may not see eye to eye, and we may have a little disagreements here and there. And so through point counterpoint and through love and each one reach one, teach one, we come to conclusion, just in case, I might go veer off or what have you. It's always done in love. And it keeps everybody on their toes, and it keeps all things here honest. And of course, we come with the biblical formula, but we don't give you a sermon. We don't have to inundate you with a million scriptures to get to a very viable point. All right? We choose not to give you a sermon, but still we come with the mighty formula of Isaiah, the 41st chapter, verses 21 through 24, which tells us that when we come here in the Lion's Den and we continue our conversations, talking about what's on your mind, well, We must produce our cause and bring forth our strong evidence that supports every subject matter we bring up. And of course, we follow the book of the Bible, 1 Thessalonians 5, the 5th chapter, and 21st verse, which tells us that we must always be ready, willing, and able to prove all things. And of course, we always come with Virgo energy. Yeah, that's right. We're analytical, political, spiritual, critical, and we always strive never to be hypocritical. Which leads us to wanting to make sure that you understand that the seventh answer and myself, we're always empathetic and sympathetic to those of you out there who we know are allergic to the truth. You are allergic to the facts. You are allergic to anything that is solid and requires you to think. And if that is you, we issue, as always, our deepest sympathies and empathies, because we're not going to compromise it for nobody. So you're welcome to leave, scram, skedaddle, split, leave, anything that describes you ain't got to be here. And my Negro and my Negress, please understand that when you go, you will not be missed. It's just that simple. And last but not least, please follow one of the many house rules set forth by our other family member and beautiful lioness, I Am Manna. When you come into the lion's den, you best wipe your feet, mind your manners, conduct yourself in an orderly manner, and enjoy yourself. Because at any given time, if you get out of line, all right, Lady Karima will swoop down and kick you up out of here. That's right, break you down with the quickness, work you out like physical fitness, hit you with so many get up out of here's, not even a Jehovah will witness. All right? And I'll just stand back and go, aha, because you was warned. See, if we strive to be gracious host, we want you to be respectable guest when you step into the grand ultimate truth reality experiment, the Lion's Den. Because from city to city and state to state, the Lion's Den is going to keep you regular like kale pectate. Now, with all that out of the way, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, she has now cleared us to take off on runway 5. 5 alive. And therefore, as we begin to take off and gain altitude, our in-flight conversation tonight is part 2 of what we discussed last night. Now, last night we gave you the make and the structure of the beast. Tonight we're gonna go into the mark of the beast, y'all. The mark of the beast. How many of you out there are gonna put out your hand or whatever for that stamp of disapproval? We are now in that danger zone. Make no mistakes. Biblical prophecy is what you are now experiencing. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, whether you want to accept it or not. Everything is happening as the Bible said it would, as Christ said it would. And now all of us, we all have to face that crunch time. What you're going to do? As we continue on, we see the mounting pressure of these demons walking with earthly feet who are determined, apparently, to battle God himself before they give up their power which wasn't meant to last forever in the first place, but they'd rather take on God himself. That's how insane they become. And now we, the true Jews, the real Israelites, the real power and authority on this earth, as we are now witnessing the destruction of this empire and those who have been the artificers of it, we all now are facing that crunch time. You know, we have a president and his Nazi bunch who seem to be hell-bent, literally hell-bent on taking us down the primrose path to that proverbial hell in a handbasket. And all of us now are going to have to make a decision and make a choice. All right? And what you going to do as these people are now lowering the boom. They want to be God on earth. Matter of fact, let's just spell it right out. There are certain elements of this society that want to take us back to slavery. No. But we're not doing that. That's over with. And we're not going back. Yeah, okay. They are looking to starve us out. There's some states that are being rumored to they're now getting some EBT or partial EBT payments. I don't know if that is true or not, but let's say if it's true. There's still a great deal of people out here who are not getting anything. And thus far, everyone's trying to remain cool, calm, and collected because they see what this is. But with everything that we revealed to you last night, showing you how, who has their hands in America's pockets and other nations' pockets. Here it is, you have former world boxing champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. Man, the coonosity. I'm going to just say it like that. The coonosity, more like it, is incredible. This Negro is talking about he is going to support Israel. Yo, man, yo. It is 2025. And it is a damn shame that there are still a great many of our people, man, that wicked ass 2/3. I'm gonna just say it just like that. I'll be careful of my language, but it's just some of our people, man. On the low, I hate to say this, I hate them. As much as I love my people and I love what I do and I dedicate myself to this and been true to this for a very long time, I hate them. There's some I hate them. Because what am I suffering myself for and going through all this hell and high water when you have among us enemies that left up to them, they would keep us here another 400 years, man. It don't make no sense. Here we are suffering, going through hell and high water, and this Negro, Floyd Mayweather Jr., is going to get up here and talk about he supports Israel. This is the same Floyd Mayweather Jr. who had the unintimated gall to disrespect the legacy of the one and only Muhammad Ali. And Floyd, if you should ever get wind of this broadcast, brother, let me help you understand why Muhammad Ali, in the area of mortal men, is considered one of the greatest of all time to have walked this earth. It wasn't just because of his boxing accomplishments, albeit he didn't leave out being undefeated. You know what makes him the greatest of all time, Floyd? I'm going to help you when no one else has taken time out to explain it to you. No, what makes Muhammad Ali, once known also as Cassius Marcellus Clay, what made him great was when he stepped up to the plate as a young 24-year-old young man and stood before the United States government and stood not for no one but his own people, unapologetically. When he stood as a WMD, an original WMD, weapon of mass defiance, and told this world and told this government that he would not be entered in any unjust wars and go fight for what we don't receive here in this society. He was one of many, but in this particular instance, this brother stood on the laws of, look, I'm not with the hypocrisy, and I'm not going to feed this nation's ego, talking about being a leader of the free and the home of the brave, when meanwhile, my people are getting shot, killed, burned, lynched, and everything else. And here it is with my gold medal and me being a representative of the United States of America sports team. I can't go and search in restaurants and eat because of my skin color. And he said also, no Viet Cong ever called me a nigger. Well, not to his face, I'm just saying. But getting back on it, Floyd, if you're listening. And not only did he face ostracization, his championships being stripped of him, his money game being weakened as he was on a hiatus and stricken from being able to box. He put all that on the line. Floyd Mayweather Jr., if you're listening, if you ever get the privilege of being able to hear this broadcast, he stood for his people, and that's why he was deemed as the people's champion. And no matter where you go in the world, his name is respected, so much so that it was Muhammad Ali who went and brokered a deal to get hostages set free. I think it was Iraq, I think it was. When he sat down and went overseas and brokered a deal and got American hostages freed and showed this American government up. Yeah, that what makes him the greatest of all time. Even in his weakened state, there were people all over the world who respected him because he stood to the day he died, albeit he was poisoned. Because see, some of y'all don't want to face this reality. That man was poisoned. He didn't have Parkinson's disease. And before you go, Malik, then you go, he going with conspiracy theories. Here's a question I want to ask. Am I and my late grandfather the only two men on God's green earth who saw an old 60 Minutes broadcast wherein the late Ed Bradley was interviewing Muhammad Ali's then physician, who indicated that Muhammad Ali was not suffering from Parkinson's disease, but that Muhammad Ali was suffering from a severe allergic reaction to some unknown chemical compounds that he found in an insecticide used to fumigate Mr. Ali's home? Am I, my grandfather, the only two men who saw that broadcast on 60 Minutes? And I spent a healthy time in healthy money trying to obtain a VHS recording of that particular show and in the history, the first time in the history of 60 Minutes history, no VHS nor transcript copy was available for that particular show. See, I'm giving you a source where I heard one of Muhammad Ali's personal physicians tell the world that man was a victim of chemical and biological warfare. See, Floyd Mayweather, you thought that the United States government was going to forgive? See, he made a mistake. The critical mistake Mr. Ali made was trusting these people. See, this government is very vindictive, and they want to win at all costs. He made a critical mistake believing that certain elements of this government was going to forgive him when he stood and made all these former senators, congressmen of that time look like absolute fools. But my point is, Floyd, Muhammad Ali stood for him to the day he died for his people. And you're going to get up here, brother, and talk about you support Israel. The money you're going to give to them. Here you have our people starving, in need of jobs. The money you've acquired and accrued over your illustrious career, you could be in the community creating jobs for us. Floyd, brother, you have some serious soul searching to do. And that's exactly why. Even though you might not care, but this is exactly why a great many people don't respect nor like you, man. And you'll never be the man, even though you are undefeated from a boxing standpoint, in the area of public affairs and social and spiritual issues, your ass is getting dragged, bro. And you ain't the man, you ain't half the man. You don't have the heart that Muhammad Ali had when he walked this mortal plane. So, brother, do yourself a favor. If you hear this, man, take heed. Don't get mad at what Brother Darkstorm is saying to you. Take heed, man, because you're looking real raccoony right about now, bro. And right about now, ain't no more room for coons. You're up here supporting people who don't give a rat's behind about you, man. But that's that mark of the beast, man. That's that beast mark. That's what we're talking about tonight. Look, we cannot afford to sit up here and kowtow and kiss the behinds of people who don't care about us. We're no longer going to accept. Matter of fact, first off, the Lord himself is not going to accept it. Then his son Christ, our Lord and Savior, if you believe that aspect of the Bible and this covenant that the Lord set up with us to be the real Jews. Look, all this cooning and clowning got to go. All these sambos and buck dancing, you got to go, and you gonna be got. It's just that simple. Because real talk, man, a lot of y'all, man, taking a page out of from the movie The Education of Sonny Carson. Man, a lot of y'all, your whole style is chump. So the mark of the beast, man, what y'all gonna do? When they roll out, whatever they're getting ready to roll out, because things about to hit, we already seeing the building pressure. We see that people are going to break food in this country real soon. We can't get around it. There's no getting around it. There's no going around it. So now, what are you going to do? Are you ready? Are you bracing yourself? See, even all you out there, our white listeners and other nations that are listening to us on the low, we know you tune into the Lion's Den. The conversation continues because you know that the seventh answer and myself, we're going to give it to you straight with no chaser. Because see, how could I forget to ask? Well, there's no better time than the present. Here on the Lion's Den, we always ask you, aren't you tired of being lied to? And it's evident a great many of you are. It's evident that a great many of you are. That's why a great many of you refuse to listen to these corporate-owned news conglomerates. That's why you're refusing to watch some of the gobbledygook and crass, obviously bought out social media nitwits here. And you tune into black media. That's right. In all of its forms and aspects. Because you know why? We are hard-hitting, unflinching, and we are not bought nor sold. And until we get snatched up out of here, we're going to continue to bring it to you straight with no chaser and give it to you raw and unapologetically. And again, you have to make a choice now. All right? Here it is now with all these, we've connected all the dots. We showed you last night. AIPAC. We showed you last night who's making this beast marketing, having all these cuts go down in this country. And where all that money from all these programs being cut, where it's being rolled up and being given to Israel. That's right. And we're going to show you tonight, right? Everybody, there's still some of you out there, some of you hardcore racist, white supremacist, you still, and all you still talking out the side of your face, blaming black folks for everything that's going on. We're going to reveal to you who the real welfare scammers are, who the real welfare queens are, with videos, with video evidence and everything else as this conversation continues. We showed you last night the make. As Sister Karima said, before you can get the mark, you got to first get the make. Now, let's look up, we gave you the universally accepted definition of the word make. Now, let's look at mark. Mark has several meanings and definitions. In this instance, the mark of the beast could be a stamp, it could be a symbol, some kind of insignia, a mark. A mark is also used to describe a target. You know, the hunter, when he's out looking for the prey becomes a mark. You heard on the West Coast the slang, you mark ass nigga. I'm not cursing for the sake of cursing, I'm just being very raw with it. You mark, that means you're prey, that you food. Mark also symbolizes, unofficially, someone who could be on the move. Always here, there, and everywhere. But in this case, though, we're talking about where a great many of us are going to be forced in the not so distant future, by some way, by hook or by crook, to take this mark of the beast that has been biblically prophesied is going to happen. No man will be able to buy nor sell. We already saw the prototype when that COVID joint popped off. And a great many of you, went out here and yielded and took that hot shot. And up from that time till now, although the news outlets don't report it, but the continual heart attacks, people just dropping from heart attacks, suddenly dying, is continuing nonstop. Now, oh, there you go with misinformation. Look, check this out. I don't sit up here to be proclaiming to be a medical expert, but I have good sense. And number one, the fact that they forced it on people. I have enough good sense with 57 years of life experience now to know that when someone forces you to do something that you don't want to do, typically that's not for your benefit. It's never for your benefit. Now, the only time the whole issue of being forced to do something is when you are under your parental guidance, and your parents, through their experiences, if they see you about to do something that you shouldn't do, or you want to go do something that they know isn't productive, they'll shut it down. But there's a difference between parental guidance and force versus someone telling you that you can't work, you won't be able to produce for yourself unless you take that hot shot. That was the first beginnings of it all. The experiment. And a great many of you caved in, sadly. I'm hoping that some of you listening, right? You've been able to go through whatever remedies you're using now to help stave that poison out your system. Or the Lord is prolonging your life by slowing down your system to be able to fight it. But we talk about now a deliberate stamp. See, this starving people out. Yo, come on, man. As the old adage goes, those who choose to forget history are doomed to be the victims of the same history they choose to forget. When we go through history, we find out and we know that people, many rulers, in order to force people to do what they wanted, what? Starve them out. They used all types of demonic. So what do you think is happening to you right now? Huh? It's evident what they're doing is intentional. They want to force we the people, especially the children of Israel, into this beast mark, into this whole twisted, turn our backs on our God and our faith just so we can eat or make money. No, this has got to stop, and it's going to stop, and it will stop. That's why when we come here, we are letting it be known what you're dealing with. Okay? And we got Salaya Ben Yah out here, and you know, and I'll take your precautionary, brother. But I'm gonna say this to you. When I say I hate some of our people, I mean, the coons, the people who are willfully being ignorant, who still in the face of what they see is dead wrong, will still want to try to lead us down the primrose path to hell, brother. So we got to be ready to be able to face that. That's real talk, man. Okay? And we know that the mark of the beast is always, as the seventh answer says so many times, it's what? is always associated with those who walk anti-Christ. And if you walk anti-Christ, it means you walk in anti-God. So we got to stop playing with this. And so when I say I hate, brother, I'm not talking about those who are striving to do what's right and be right. I'm talking about some of these same coons, some of these same crows on the fence who are leading us willfully to hell. When you read the book of Isaiah, the 28th chapter, starting at verse 14, the Lord does say, hey, yo, all the wicked of my people, your covenant with hell is about to be will be disannulled. And you will be washed away. So when I say I hate, yo, come on, man. I'm going to take precaution, but I want to explain and be clear about this. I am not going to love those who are still going to be willfully ignorant. And by that I mean, here it is with all these hangings and lynchings and burnings of our our brothers being found, murdered, black unarmed men, women and children being shot, killed in every way you can think of by these Gestapo, disguised as police officers and their grand wizard bosses, disguised as governor, mayors, and prosecuting attorneys are letting them go, or defense attorneys defending them so they can be released. I can't love anybody like that no more. I can't accept anyone like that anymore. Talking about they are brother or sister. No, they're not. No, they are not. And so therefore, okay, we now have to recognize the fact that this mark of the beast, okay, as we got Russia now gearing up for war against this country, as prophesied, China, okay, and all these other nations prepping for war as the DJT, Donald J. Trump, and the Nazi bunch at the behest of Israel are getting ready to get at Venezuela, Nigeria, and other oil-rich countries because they don't want to pay for the oil. They don't want to pay for the resources like everyone else. But then again, when you're $32 trillion in debt and a deadbeat on everything that you're doing, well, that kind of narrows it down to why they don't want to pay. Now we understand why all these oligarchs and all these billionaire trillionaires are looking to invest elsewhere and take over other governances. Huh? Now we understand why they want to cut the money here and cut all these programs. See, just like the eagle that is used to symbolize this country. The eagle is known to eat its own hatchlings, when it can't find any food on a hunt. And so America continues to eat its own citizenry. And for all you white MAGAs out there, to all my MAGAs out there, how you feeling about now? Why are you feeling real dumb? So what we're gonna do, right? As we always say here on the Lions Den, we not gonna deprive you. What we like to do sometimes, because we always go hard body, to show you that there are other voices out here talking and seeing things. We come from a biblical plane, but still there are others out there who still see the Lord is using all voices and agents on deck to show you what time it is. So this is Demetra K. Take a real listen at what she gonna bring out and what she gonna bring to the table in black media, y'all. See, we're bipartisan, okay? The truth is the truth no matter who tells it. So with that being said, fair use, y'all. Let's go to work. The Lion's Den.
We about transparency. Anyways, go look in your inbox and see what I sent you. I mean your text message and see what I sent you. Hurry up and then come back.
Another ex-professional athlete will be joining the Hall of Fame there in Jackson, Mississippi for bilking the welfare fund of millions of dollars. Well, ex-WWE wrestler Ted DiBiase Jr. is being charged with welfare fraud, and specifically his charges read as follows. DiBiase is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and to commit theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, 6 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, and 4 counts of money laundering. Now, it is said that he is looking at hundreds of years behind bars if he is convicted of those things. Well, we know that there was another athlete who was accused of stealing millions of dollars. We won't say his name because he likes to sue people. But anyway, it said that Teddy Boy bought a house, a car, and boats with the money that he stole from the welfare fund there in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, we also know that those in Jackson, Mississippi are embattled. For lack of better words, they are living in poverty, a lot of them, and it's about 80% or so of those residents are black people. So once again, they get the short end of the stick due to the greed of white, greedy millionaires, right? So will Ted have to face the music for what he did? I don't know. It's probably going to be around the same thing that may or may not happen to the other athlete that we won't say his name because he likes to sue people. But it's also said that the ex-director of Department of Human Services, John Davis, he pled guilty to welfare fraud. He also gave about $160,000 to Ted's brother, Brett, to help him go to rehab in Malibu, California for drugs. And so, yes, they have an issue with stealing from poor people in Jackson, Mississippi, but it doesn't. Programs receiving federal funds, 6 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, and 4 counts of money laundering. Now, it is said that he is looking at hundreds of years behind bars if he is convicted of those things. Well, we know that there was another athlete who was accused of stealing millions of dollars. We won't say his name because he likes to sue people. But anyway, they said that Teddy Boy bought a house, a car, and boats with the money that he stole from the welfare fund there in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, we also know that those in Jackson, Mississippi are embattled. For lack of better words, they are living in poverty, a lot of them, and it's about 80% or so of those residents are black people. So once again, they get the short end of the stick due to the greed of white, greedy millionaires, right? So will Ted have to face the music for what he did? I don't know. It's probably going to be around the same thing that may or may not happen to the other athlete that we won't say his name because he likes to sue people. But it's also said that the ex-director of Department of Human Services, John Davis, he pled guilty to welfare fraud. He also gave about $160,000 to Ted's brother, Brett, to help him go to rehab in Malibu, California for drugs. And so, yes, they have an issue with stealing from poor people in Jackson, Mississippi, but it doesn't sound like it's anything new because they said it's been going on that we know of, right? From 2016 to 2019. So we'll see what happens. And more importantly, see if anybody else is going to join the Hall of Fame there in Jackson, Mississippi. So y'all tell me what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra K Show, here on YouTube. Peace.
Oh yeah, the conversation is gonna continue. And now see, that's just the beginning. You got Ted DiBiase. Y'all know Ted DiBiase Jr., you know his daddy, the $1 Million Man. the man, Ted DiBiase. Everybody's got a price. Yeah, that's right. What? Yo, Mississippi been hot. Okay, and we know who Miss K is talking about. See, we know if we won't say his name because he is a little soy boy crybaby. All right, all right. But his name sounds like Seth Far, okay, or C-Far. Look it up. The biggest welfare scheme, scam, con, and hustle. Mark of the beast. $77 million stolen from the poorest state in these United States. So we're not going to let you forget that. We won't say his name, but look up the case. The biggest welfare fraud in the history of America. But they talk about black folks, you scheme, scam, con, and hustle. Yo, now, seventh answer, you said a lot. Okay? Just want to let you know already. Yo, you need to get up in here and start articulating a lot of that stuff. But I get the gist of it. So we're gonna rock out with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that Revelation is talking about. We're gonna deal with that. Okay? But before we go too deep and too heavy, let's keep it basic for the time being. What we're gonna do, since we went hard body revealing the make of the beast, let's continue to see who is indeed the welfare kings and queens and thieves of this system. We gave you one video. We got more. We got more evidence. Like I told you, when we go in, we go in. And we bring it to everybody. See that credo? Team Lion Den want all the smoke? We do. Oh, we most certainly do. Because we come in the spirit of Psalms 94:16, when the good Lord asks, who will rise up for me against the workers of iniquity? And those who do evil. But we doing it. We are. The dynamic duo. The real deal dynamic duo. The power of 2. Okay? If you want to get down to it, you can call me Power Man, Luke Cage. And you have, oh yeah, perfect. You can look at the 7th answer as being Misty Knight. If you don't know who they are, you better go ask somebody. Better known as Power Man, Luke Cage. All right? So look at me as the Luke Cage of the Lion's Den, and the 7th answer as Misty Knight. And we got more evidence. We're gonna show you who's really robbing this country. Because see, it's amazing how here did you have all these grifters out there. They want to come talking about, well, I don't feel bad that you're getting cut off if you're getting your SNAP cut off and your EBT cut off, because you're all you out there, let's get you blacks. They all want, we always the front man or the face of everything wrong. You're out there not working, and we're hardworking, and you're getting SNAP benefits, and you're able to eat food that we can't afford. But we're going to show you who the real beast and who are the real marks out here robbing the system. We gave you one video. We got more coming. And you need to see this. Oh, the ones we're going to play coming up next, you need to see these. You need to see them. And no, we don't want to hear
was trying to show you the real beast in play on top of this, but I was trying to show you the real beast. You feel what I'm saying? The real people that's behind them who can control, because all they doing is stealing or whatever. But I try to explain Donald Trump is one of the horsemen. The president of Israel is one of the horsemen. China, okay? These are the horsemen that's in play. And then I try to show you like their position, which is war. You feel what I'm saying? And then I showed you the titles and what's in the titles and what they was doing. Just like China, you feel me? Disease. And it's in the Bible of the line of their, character.
I see the connection, and now you're the one that's articulating it better than I could. See, sometimes there's certain things that I like to give the surface, but if you want to go intricate, what you're doing right now.
That's why I broke it down for you small. So when you speaking on, you can see the alignment, just like when you said China. You actually spoke on it. It's just like a comment I just brought on over here where he said, the Jews, but you gotta understand that there's 4 parties involved, you know what I mean, into this, as far as being like the horsemen's of power. Like, Donald Trump is in, you have the destroying of the economy. That's in there. You have the war. That's Russia. China, disease. You know what I mean? These are the horsemen that's in play.
And yes, I get that. So we have the red horse, the white horse, the black horse, the pale horse. Okay, all these horses, which with each one of them with their vials of death and destruction. So it's interesting that you're making a connection with actual people, places, and things, which is a good thing. And like I said, each one teach one, reach one. But I want to, yeah. For all y'all out there, right? What the 7th answer is getting to and showing you all right is how these pale horses, all the war horse, the red horse, which now I would have to go super deep into the Bible to start breaking all that down. But I want to, keep away from sermons, but what I want to do is just give you the surface aspect of it. Another time we can go super deep. 7th answer, believe when I tell you, going deep, deep, deep. They ain't ready they're not ready for that. Trust.
Yeah, because when you talk about the mark, it's not just the mark, it's actually, you know what I mean, figures and things in play. So, these people that's in play, that's already then, set their little mark down.
I agree. Oh, hey, what's
that? The song is coming out. Okay, so stay tuned.
So now, y'all, pay attention to this. Pay attention now. Now, we're not saying his name, but this is a very important aspect of Jackson, Mississippi. Those who the real welfare kings, queens are, the thieves who are really benefiting. We're talking about Mississippi got hit with a $77 million plus welfare scam. And this is not, and yet the news has let you forget it. But we're not going to forget it. And we're not saying his name. This is a general news, fair use. They're saying his name. We didn't. 7th answer, let's give it to the people and remind them of the alleged. We're going to say alleged to cover all our bases. But we're talking about the mark of the beast. We're talking about revelations and revealing any and everything and who's doing what. You got the war horse, the pale horse, the red horse, the black horse. All these different events are being played out by people in representation of all those various horses, as the 7th answer alluded to. Take it away, 7th answer.
Mississippi welfare scandal involving Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre. And let's face it, if this story happened just a decade ago, no media outlet would be able to stop talking about it. But welcome to 2022, and we have a lot to be distracted by these days, so let's get you caught up. So, These are the four main players in this scandal that you need to know about. On the far left is former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant. He was the man in charge of the state of Mississippi when all of this went down. Now, next to him is John Davis, the state's former welfare agency director. Then next is Nancy New. She was the head of a nonprofit in Mississippi that worked with the state welfare agency. And then next to her is, of course, Brett Favre, former NFL quarterback and Mississippi native. They're all caught up in an alleged welfare fraud scheme that, to the Mississippi State Auditor, says involved the misuse of more than $70 million, earmarked to go to the state's poorest. The money was instead used for all kinds of non-welfare related payouts, like to a retired pro wrestler, a horse farm, and yes, to Brett Favre. Keep in mind, this is the same state that's capital city couldn't even deliver clean drinking water for months to its residents. And it ranks as the poorest state in the country, with nearly 20% of its residents living in poverty. That state auditor's report found that Favre took more than $1 million for speeches he never gave. Favre has since paid back that money, but the state says he still owes more than $200,000 in interest. That same report shows $5 million in welfare funds were used to build a new volleyball stadium at Favre's alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi. His daughter just happens to have played volleyball at USM at that time. Favre and Bryant have denied knowing where the money was coming from, and neither has been charged with a crime, but Davis and New have. This spring, New and her son pleaded guilty to bribery and fraud charges and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. Since then, an attorney representing New's nonprofit has handed over text messages from Favre that suggest to critics his further involvement in the welfare scheme. Favre allegedly writing in one text, "Nancy, Santa came today and dropped some money off." The messages don't indicate Favre knew exactly where the cash was coming from, though. Then just last week, Davis pled guilty to several federal and state charges. In the plea, Davis also agreed to fully cooperate with prosecutors as they pursue the case further. Joining me now to help break it all down is AJ Perez. He's a senior reporter for Front Office Sports, and he's been covering this story closely, as with a lot of other stories that we're always interested in. AJ, thanks so much for joining the show today. I mean, I kind of wanted to cover the waterfront in that intro. Is there something that I've missed, especially in terms of recent developments, that you think our viewers should know about?
There's a couple things, but you covered it very well. One was he didn't get the money funneled to the college, but he also was trying to get $1.5 million for an indoor football facility to help recruit Deion Sanders' son in 2019.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Trust me, I wasn't going to let that one sit on the sidelines, no pun intended. So we just talked about John Davis taking a plea deal. You've written that you believe that Brett Favre just might be the very next target for prosecutors. How worried should he?
So how about this, y'all? I'm gonna use the schematic that the seventh answer is the Lord wants me to follow that she laid out. So what you're looking right now is at the pale horse. In the book of the Bible, the pale horse is said the rider would bring death, it would bring pestilence, disease, and all kinds of chaos among the people. How disease and demonic and deathly must you be to take money that the people need for food, resources, the biggest welfare fraud, and you ain't heard no more about it until tonight. $77 million, the pale horse. These demons walking with earthly feet in the poorest state in the United States of America. This is that pale horse. Death, disease, pestilence, corruption. Yeah, that's right. And we on the case. We're going to make the connections. See how real the Bible is? Whether you want to believe it or not. And yet, you're going to let Here you have the mass media, and you have clowns like this Anton Daniels. I'm gonna name names. Ringo TV, this Claude, this clown, Jesse Lee Peterson, and all the rest of these grifting clowns out here that want to tell you that black folk are eating up the welfare rolls. Donald Trump and in Israel, the Israelis will tell you that we are the welfare king and queens, but ignore stories like this. Oh, you know what? I know why. Because they know they're lying on us. So we are showing you the pale horse in full freaking effect. Bringing COVID, bringing death and destruction in all of its various forms. Taking away health care. Well, you can't take care of yourself. That's what the pale horse was said to do. And we see the actors, the perpetrators, as the seventh answer. The Most High gave her the epiphany to, get on my case to bring it out like it should be brought out properly. So now we're making the connections. Think about $77 million, and this ain't still, and now you ain't heard no more about this damn case. But we are on it. Like I said, the seventh answer myself, we are Inspector Gadget. We always on duty, and Richard Pryor, sharp out Washington, steady on the case. Let the video run, seventh answer.
That charges could be on the way now that Davis himself has taken a plea deal.
Yeah, as you laid out, there's two big fish that haven't been indicted yet. That's the former Governor Phil Bryant and Brett Favre. Brett Favre is being sued in that lawsuit where we got all those text messages last week, and we've gotten several text messages that seem to show that Favre knew the money was coming from, somewhere maybe that it shouldn't be coming from. And that was, that's how he's been attached to more than $8 million of welfare, the welfare funds either funneled to him, like you mentioned, through the speeches or to his projects. So, and the other one's Phil Bryant, who is not a plaintiff, unlike Favre. Favre is a plaintiff in that lawsuit, as you mentioned. But yeah, Bryant is still, that's who released all the text messages to try to on last week. He was trying to distance himself from Favre and trying to lay some blame on Favre instead of him.
AJ, is it just me? But I feel like this Brett Favre issue has kind of been percolating for a while. Tell our viewers, how long has Favre kind of been a target of this investigation? I mean, the money for the speeches that he took, for the speeches he never gave, God, I feel like that was yesterday, but it's been a while, right?
Yeah, it goes back to 2017 to 2018 when the state auditor started looking into a startup that he was involved in. This was a concussion treatment startup, a nasal spray to treat concussions. The startup was called Prevacus. And I actually covered this years ago because I wanted to talk to Favre for another story. So I actually mentioned Prevacus, and I did not go into the merits because it seems kind of wild to treat a head injury or a traumatic brain injury with a nasal spray like Nasonex. But I gave it a mention. But this is how the state auditor kind of got into Favre. Was he got that $2.2 million, which did come from the same funds. And the funds are meant, as you mentioned, for the poorest of the poor in the poorest state and the nation. And they don't do a lot of direct support to those in poverty in Mississippi. So this is so that kind of got them going. Then the state auditor went to look at the speeches, and then later they found out this about the volleyball complex.
As I said earlier, and as you mentioned, the story has a lot of layers. You reported last week that Brett Favre wasn't done after getting the money for the volleyball stadium. He went on to try to secure an additional $1.5 million in welfare funds to build an indoor football facility at Southern Mississippi. You mentioned it was to recruit Deion Sanders' son. I read, obviously, that Deion Sanders and Brett Favre have been friends for a while. His son was looking at another university to go and play at another program. What more can you tell us about these developments? I mean, it literally just kind of came around just a few days ago.
Yeah, it was. His son is now playing for Deion, for his father over at Jackson State. And in 2019, he was one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the nation. So everybody was kind of taking their shot at him. And beyond that, beyond the text messages, there was also Favre. I don't know if it was flippantly or he was actually serious about using prison labor to help these projects along and to stay under budget.
You know, AJ, Favre made upwards of $140 million during his playing career, doesn't include endorsements, et cetera. What's he saying at all about any of this? I mean, he took money that was intended to go to Mississippi's poorest, their neediest. Has there been anything from Brett Favre in his own defense that he's put out?
Nothing. There's been no statement from him. He hasn't done any media. He's been taken off all of his three media spots that he had. It was Sirius XM, ESPN Radio in Milwaukee, and also 33rd Team, which is a football news website. So he's basically said nothing since, I would say, September 13th, when he appeared on one of those shows or wrote something for that website. And his agent's not talking. His lawyer won't even, I can't even get through to his lawyer. I get through to his receptionist, and I don't get much. Mississippi Today, who's been done a great job, and other outlets down in Mississippi have talked to his lawyer, and his lawyers, as you mentioned, said that Favre didn't know where this money was coming from, and he didn't know it was coming from a welfare program.
AJ Perez, you are one of the most dogged investigative reporters I know in this space. Do not let that receptionist break your spirit. AJ Perez, thank you so much for being here. We're going to keep on following your reporting.
Yeah, as we continue on. So like I said, the mark of the beast, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This is a primary example of that pale horse. That red horse. There's some of you out there that don't want to believe that Esau is the red horse of the apocalypse. But these demons walk with earthly feet are proving who they are. See, this is a primary example of the red and the pale horse. Yes, Celaya Ben Yah, they tried to bring Deion Sanders in. Why you think Coach Prime got ghost? Now you understand why he left. He saw the corruption. He knew the deal and got ghost. That's why. So let's play it out. The four horsemen, the black horse. When you read the book of Revelation, you see the black horse represents who? We, the children of Israel. When you read what the black horse symbolizes, those under the black horse crying for justice, crying for freedom, crying for what's right. That's what we've been doing for a very long time. Don't cheat us out of our wages. A penny for $1, $1 on a ride. All that when you go on is talking about how we will be crying and fighting and striving for justice. The black horse. And look how the black horse is being treated, brothers and sisters. Here it is. You still have certain forces out here willfully wanting to put us as the welfare cheats and welfare kings and queens, a whole fictitious notion created by the Republican Party when Ronald Wilson Reagan, former governor of California, former lousy actor and governor of California, and President Ronald Wilson Reagan, who destroyed the economy as we know it under the system called Reaganomics, or as we called it in that day, Rapeonomics. And the economy's been downhill ever since. That's almost 40 some odd years ago. And it's not been the same. So pay attention. The red horse, the pale horse, they're interchangeable. All right? Bringing death, destruction wherever they go. That beast mark. And now we got the orange horse. Donald Trump and company. bringing hell on this earth as we know it. You see that? Cheating the people of Mississippi, the poor, and they still aren't getting their money, their fair share. All that money, $77 million, the biggest welfare scam and welfare cheating in the history of America. And you barely hear about that now. Let Deion Sanders have gotten involved with that. Oh, you wouldn't hear the end of it. But because allegedly, it's a white boy at the helm of it, and that pro wrestler they were talking about, Ted DiBiase Jr., it's been swept under the rug. But we're not going to let it go. We know the white horse is talking about Christ. Because the one who sat on the white horse will be the one who is faithful and true. That's alluding to Christ. And the preparation of war they about to bring on this earth in judgment. But it's that red horse and that pale horse we have to pay attention to. Now I know there'll be some out there listening to this that will want to come and debate. Look, if you still can't get it to your thick skull, the red horse is talking about Esau, talking about their evil, wicked power and structure as connected to Genesis 25th chapter, as connected to Genesis 32nd chapter. If you still don't want to believe these people as our father Jacob gave him Esau the blessing that he will rule by the sword and everything he would attain would be by the sword. If you still don't want to believe that, even though they're doing everything the Bible said Esau would do, there ain't nothing else to talk about. There's nothing to debate. It's either you believe the Bible or you damn don't. But we're showing you the evidence. And that's the problem. Some of you want to dance around and look for ways to save these people. They're not going to be saved. So as we progress on, we got more evidence who the real welfare kings and thieves are. It ain't just Brett Favre. It's not just Brett Favre, allegedly, supposedly. Nah. Let's say he didn't know where the money was coming from. Let's just say he didn't know. But still, if he didn't know, everybody who was financing him knew. And that's why they all took plea deals. See, this is why you have to always be thankful. You have the lion's den. You have us on the case. And we're able to break. And see, I'm breaking down the four horsemen of the apocalypse without giving you a sermon, without going too deep. There are those who do go deep. I choose to keep it surface level because I don't want to lose anybody out there who's listening. But we're giving it to you straight with no chaser, how this pale horse and red horse in particular are working. These Idumean, the red horse, that will make war, that would come with power and with the sword. And let's look at their history, y'all. From the Greeks, the Romans, and all the other empires that they rule under, including America. How have everything they've attained come about? Violence, mayhem, bloodshed, rape, robbery, brutality. the beast mark. It's not just a stamp or a symbol, it's an action. And the seventh answer was articulated to me. I get it now. And the more I see now, the more I follow the pattern that the Lord wanted her to hammer home to me. He's opening me up. I see, that's how it works. Each one teach one, reach one. And I hope that all y'all listening are getting this now. It's not a joke nor a game, y'all. We're now in the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now what you gonna do? Who you gonna choose? Oh, we got more videos now. We revealing who the real welfare kings and queens are. Who really been eating off the rolls of the people while blaming somebody else. We ain't done. We're gonna stay on the pale horse and the red horse back. We're showing you how they operate and how they get down. So we got more to show you. Stand by. But in the meantime, between time, let me take a quick time out. Let's see who's talking. Oh, Nehemiah 9:6. Okay, good scripture, Smashing Idol. Great scripture. All right. And Shalom to you and Yahweh, Akkad, Avalon forever indeed. Indeed. Salaya Ben Yah said, damn. Yeah, that's right. Yo, brother. Look, man. This is why the Most High said that in these last days and times, he would have voices out here. Those of us who have not bowed the knee to Baal. Those who will not coon and buffoon. And this is why the lion's den, value, treasure it, cherish it. And give honor to our sister in faith, Sister Creamer, in the spirit of Proverbs 31, as she brings heat. We're going to continue on now. Check this out, y'all. Fair use. Fair use.
An undercover operation in Manatee County lands 39 people in jail, and right now dozens more have warrants out for their arrest. The sheriff's office is going after those fraudulently using their EBT cards. Our Alex Hobson joins us live from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office tonight. And Alex, the sheriff says that this is a widespread problem.
And this sheriff's office is one of the only agencies addressing it, but we're talking major fraud, and they're using our taxpayer dollars.
Walked in one by one, some hung their heads, others wore their feelings right there on their t-shirts. Today, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office announced an undercover operation they've been working on for months resulted in more than 100 arrest warrants and close to 40 arrests.
This is a huge problem, and we're like one of maybe 3 or 4 law enforcement agencies in the state of Florida that have decided to do something about this.
And it has to do with just that. Meal tickets in the form of EBT cards for low-income individuals being fraudulently used. One part of the investigation centered around Gerald Millis, a local restaurant owner who police say purchased EBT cards from people for 50 to 60 cents on the dollar and then stocked his local Pizza Pros restaurant with food he bought using those cards.
We were able to determine that he used 53 different EBT cards at Sam's Club.
Police say 55 people were also caught illegally selling their EBT cards to undercover detectives.
A couple of them said, I'm headed to go get some rock cocaine.
A beyond frustrating reality for taxpayers who today learned their hard-earned money is being misused.
It's your taxpayers' money and my taxpayers' money that facilitates these EBT cards.
It's terrible. You should buy it for what you need, for staples to keep you alive. It's not meant for frilly things.
Manatee County Sheriff Brad Stubbe is now trying to address the bigger issue. He's in talks with the state CFO and Congressman Buchanan with the idea of potentially putting a picture on these EBT cards to make it difficult for someone to use someone else's. Reporting live from Manatee County tonight, Alex Hobson, ABC Action News.
Can't hear you.
All went out. Thank you. Now, like I was saying a minute ago, you see all those faces? Did you see the majority of the faces on that EBT Most Wanted? You see how the mark of the beast, the pale horse, the red horse, waging war on we the people, the poor? You see how the Bible aligns? See, those horses are descriptions of people and what they will be doing. The pale horse, of course, like I said, those who will be doling out diseases and pestilences and all kinds of plagues and waging war on the people. The red horse represents Esau. Well, I know some of y'all don't want to believe that. You know, some of y'all still have a hard time making the connection that the father of Esau and Jacob would bless Esau. Isaac would bless Esau with the sword. That everything he would rule with iron and chains. But we're showing you the connection. Yeah, and look who's eating up all the EBT and the welfare. Look who's misusing all that money while blaming the black horse who's crying out for justice and for what's right. Huh? Look at how they operate. And this is why you need for us to be on the case, to smash all these lies being told about us. See, I took it to heart what the late, great Malcolm X said. You don't let someone else tell you about you. And you don't let someone else lie on you. And that's why in these last days and times, as the Lord said, the book of Revelation, all things are now being revealed. And we're revealing the four horsemen of the apocalypse. We're revealing the pale horse and the red horse in particular. And how they will operate. And they operate us in person. And they're interchangeable. You understand me? We're not going to exclude Vladimir Putin, Russia, the red horse, as part of the red horse, the warmongers. But what we're doing right now, since we gave you the make of the beast, AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Commission, how they control America, who runs America, who's eating up all the welfare, all the mark of the beast, the pale horse and the red horse making war on the black horse, the black folk, the children of Israel. Pay attention to this story. Okay? Run it, Seventh Answer.
Tonight, a confrontation with an employer who was garnishing the wages of one of his workers. It was child support money, perfectly legal, but what wasn't kosher was the employer keeping the money.
You've heard of deadbeat fathers. Well, this is a deadbeat employer. Chesky Weiss owes more than $1,000 in child support payments, not for a child of his, but for an employee.
He owes about 14 weeks as of today.
John Charias works for him. Each week, the boss takes support payments out of John's check. They're supposed to go to the county, then to John's ex-wife. But
his payments are being taken out of his salary, and his boss is stealing it from the children, from the child. I don't understand it.
And because the money isn't getting to the ex-wife, John has been branded a deadbeat.
Child support service keeps taking money from my bank account, from my tax returns, in order to cover the payments. So
you're really paying twice.
Yes.
It's so unfair to Mr. Charias. It really is. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand this. He's doing his part as the father.
A month ago, I confronted the deadbeat boss. The man can barely live because they're taking the money out of his checking account.
I'm trying to get...
No, I don't want to hear I'm trying. You've got to do this for the guy. You're a grown man. You run a company. You have obligations, and this is one of them. After we left, he did pay $800, but not a dime since. As a result, he had to appear in Nassau County Family Court. You got a check with you?
No, I can't pay it away. I got to mail it in.
You are here to pay the back child support. Why don't you have it with you? John and Virginia have heard this excuse before. Chesky's been hauled into court 4 times for child support non-payment.
But yet they keep letting him get away with it. I don't know why.
On this day, the magistrate told Mr. Weiss that he would face a $500 fine if he didn't release the money. You understand that there's a child involved here? Does this have any impact on you at all? He has to come back to court later this month with a lawyer.
He'll be back. He fell off. He said they're blocking him, but he's trying to come back.
Okay, y'all, I'm back. My bad. Don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm back. Took a minute for me to, navigate, but as you saw, I was getting hot and heavy. But getting back on what I was saying, all right? Look, as we can see, there are forces out there that don't like what we're doing. I'm going to keep on talking in the spirit of the Lord and Christ. Truth is the truth. So as I was saying before I got kicked up out of here real quick, yeah. And we're showing you the reality of how it works, who's doing what. And our aim and our mission as we come here is to prove all things. All right? And we're gonna continue on. We ain't done. We have more evidence. But don't forget though, out of Mississippi, the biggest well out of all these schemes, scams, and hustles, the biggest welfare scam in United States history out of Mississippi. And like I said, Mississippi's been hot, and not in a good way. $77 million. You see Florida, that big money-making EBT misusage. Well, you have restaurant owners buying people's EBT benefits, and you have all them white folks. Woo! Getting over like a fat rat, like that old song. And here we are now revealing the beast mark, not just a symbol. We're just showing you everything in all of its formalities. We're going to continue on now as the conversation continues. Fair use, y'all. Take it away, Seventh Dance.
That's my video, so don't trip.
No, I'm never tripping. We have to, everything must be interlaced and interwoven, and everything else, it all connects. Let's go to work.
The mark of the beast is often associated with the biblical figure of the Antichrist, or an evil entity. The horse imagery might be connected to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which are symbols of war, famine, pestilence, and death. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are figures mentioned in the book of Revelation in the Bible. They symbolize war, represents bloodshed and violence. Famine represents hunger and scarcity. Pestilence represents disease and plague. Death represents death and destruction. The 4 horsemen, modern interpretations. War representing conflict and bloodshed. Putin's involvement in various conflicts, such as the annexation of Crimea and the ongoing war in Ukraine, makes him a fitting figure for the role of war. Famine, Trump, symbolizing economic hardship and scarcity. Trump's economic policies, including tariffs and trade wars, have been criticized for their potential impact on low-income households and global food security. Pestilence, Xi Jinping, embodying disease and widespread suffering. China's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as its environmental policies, have been linked to significant health crises and widespread suffering. Death, Netanyahu, personifying death and destruction. Netanyahu's policies, particularly in the Gaza Strip, have been criticized for their impact on civilian lives and the humanitarian situation in the region. My scenario, where I believe Trump and an Israeli leader are 2 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This perspective can be explored through various lenses, including geopolitics, analyzing the roles of world leaders in shaping global events; symbolism, examining the metaphorical significance of the 4 horsemen in relation to contemporary issues; speculation, discussing potential interpretations of prophecy or apocalyptic narratives. The mark of the beast
No, let it run again. Seventh answer. Let that run again. That need to be heard again. Let's run that again. Okay, so we can hammer it home. Bring all the connections and everything else. I want to rehear that one. Let's do it again. Okay? As the conversation continues, as you see, we're not going to deprive you. We will not deprive you. So if you can bring it back up, let that run one more time. You know? Even that's eye-opening to me. All right? What I don't know, somebody else knows. And what somebody else knows, somebody may know something even more. It's all good. Okay? That's an interesting video you pulled up this 7th. So let's run it
Mark
again.
of the beast
Come on.
is often associated with the biblical figure of the Antichrist, or an evil entity. The horse imagery might be connected to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which are symbols of war, famine, pestilence, and death. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are figures mentioned in the book of Revelation in the Bible. They symbolize war, represents bloodshed and violence. Famine represents hunger and scarcity. Pestilence represents disease and plague. Death represents death and destruction. The 4 horsemen, modern interpretations. War representing conflict and bloodshed. Putin's involvement in various conflicts, such as the annexation of Crimea and the ongoing war in Ukraine, makes him a fitting figure for the role of war. Famine, Trump, symbolizing economic hardship and scarcity. Trump's economic policies, including tariffs and trade wars, have been criticized for their potential impact on low-income households and global food security. Pestilence, Xi Jinping, embodying disease and widespread suffering. China's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as its environmental policies, have been linked to significant health crises and widespread suffering. Death, Netanyahu, personifying death and destruction. Netanyahu's policies, particularly in the Gaza Strip, have been criticized for their impact on civilian lives and the humanitarian situation in the region. My scenario, where I believe Trump and an Israeli leader are 2 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This perspective can be explored through various lenses, including geopolitics, analyzing the roles of world leaders in shaping global events; symbolism, examining the metaphorical significance of the 4 horsemen in relation to contemporary issues; speculation, discussing potential interpretations of prophecy or apocalyptic narratives.
And there
The
you have
mark
it, brothers
of the
and sisters.
beast.
And there you have it. Okay? And adding, in addition to what we are breaking down the 4 horsemen, now you see other voices out there making the connections as well. Like I said,
That was my connection. I just put it in the video form.
I know you did. I know you did. I just said it. Okay? And like I said, more voices need to be heard. Thank you, 7th Answer, for bringing that to the fore. That's only inspiring me. They go to 7 Eyes. That's only inspiring me more. And where'd you get that from anyway? Let the viewing public.
I always feel like they part of the system. I always feel like they part of the beast. I keep telling you this. I keep telling you that how they play in the role. I always think of people that's involved in things now. You know what I mean? I always said that Trump was, part of it. I just think that he's a puppet, But as far as them other parties, yeah, they main parties in this. Like, I've been saying this. I've been trying to put the connection together, but this is my scenario, my take, you know what I mean?
No, but it is fitting and everything else. And like I said, we need all hands on deck. Whatever, and the Most High said He's gonna give everybody their insight, hindsight, foresight, and every other sight. So what I don't see, you see. What you don't see, I see. It all still works, and that's very interesting. So see, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, because the Bible speaks on Russia as far as being one of the you know, hands in this. It talks about Russia, and it talks about you know, America. So yeah, them are one of the big parties, and they said it was going to be a war between kings, or you know, between these leaders. I'm gonna get the script. I'm gonna get it.
And see, this is what we do, brothers and sisters. You see, it's each one, teach one, reach one. We bring the dynamic too. We bringing it to you raw, straight with no chaser, unapologetically. The Most High is working through everybody now. It's an all hands on deck. Now let's see who's talking. Oh, okay, we got Big Mississippi in the house. Your sword is swift and terrible, baby Hebrew. You see them planes dropping? I do. I see them dropping. Yep, it is. I will agree with you on this, Big Mississippi, Tyrone. It is definitely judgment time. Okay. Okay, you can only open the 7 seal. Okay, that's a heavy claim. But moving on, y'all. Moving on. As you can see, the mark of the beast, it ain't just about a stamp in your hand and your forehead. It's actions, perpetrators, those who are enacting being the beast and being the marks. Bear in mind, a mark also are those who cause actions, those who go to and fro, making things transpire. See, the etymology is critical and key. A mark can also be a prey, a target. So it's all in how you look at things. But in this context, we're talking about those who will be in the seat of causing actions and causing misery and pain and suffering. Notice it said Netanyahu as death. We're not going to pretend that we don't see that Benjamin Netanyahu, just like the recently deceased Dick Cheney, are nothing but warlords and death merchants. We cannot pretend that we don't see that. We do see it. And therefore we see how, again, interchangeably, the red horse and the pale horse, disease, pestilences, and those nations who are the harbingers of these very things. Okay? Some of you that still don't want to believe that Esau is that red horse, like I said, there's nothing else I can say or do to convince you. The Bible is showing you, and they're showing you who they are and what they are. Here they are getting ready to go to war right now as we do this broadcast with Venezuela and Nigeria. Because they want that oil. Are you all paying attention? Well, if you aren't, we are. And therefore we are bringing it to you. See, the starving of the people out here in America is deliberate. The cutting of the EBT, the cutting of all these programs. Because these treasonous mongrels and skunks have now hijacked the coffers and treasury of America to roll up all that money and send to Israel, and to also finance this war machine. Why you think they knocked out all those federal workers? Think about it, y'all. You knock out all those workers, who's gonna audit? Who gonna audit what they're doing? Think about that. Who's gonna run the checks and balances on where that money is going? The system of accountancy is being broken. So when they cut Medicaid, where's all that millions in, oh that's right, 40 billion to Argentina. A rumored 9 billion to Ukraine. And oh yeah, the financing of Israel, Israeli women, when they have babies now, they're being given $1,000 or more a month. No, a week, either weekly, monthly, for the next 18 or more years to raise those children. U.S. money. That's where all those programs the Republicans have been cutting that benefited you and I, and a lot of racist white folks voted against it, shut it down, because they didn't want us to have our piece of that economic pie. Well, all you maggers, how you feeling right now as that red horse in the form of Trump and the Nazi bunch rip you off and stomp you out and crush you underfoot and kill you with the sword? Yeah, how does it feel? That pale horse, and they cut your Medicaid, they cut your ability to get and raise your premiums on your health care, and you can't get the treatment that you need, and you're going to start dying from all the pestilences and diseases and all kinds of sicknesses and illnesses that are coming upon a great many of you right now. As much of this food that we're eating is killing us slowly, causing cancers and all kinds of fibroids and growths in our bodies. Eating all this seedless watermelon, seedless grapes, seedless oranges, and lab grown beef. Oh man. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The Bill Gates. The Elon Musk. Oh yeah. The book of Revelations is jumping off the pages of the Bible. The black horse, the black nations, crying for justice. The 12 tribes of Israel crying for what's right, in need of a savior. Oh yeah, everything is happening right on schedule. And for those of you who don't believe in the Bible, I bet you believe in it now. Because see, all your books and what you believe in ain't coming to pass. But everything in the Bible, wars, rumors of wars, destructive conflicts. One nation shall rise up against another nation with swords in their hands, greed, and all kinds of other rapacious and unnatural evils that would transpire the world over. Everything is happening like clockwork. And we better brace ourselves right here on the shores of America, because war is indeed about to erupt right here We've already seen the building of it. But now, get ready, y'all, because it's coming to a theater near you. All right? And the bottom line is it. The bottom line is it, right? We can no longer afford to play. And those who would choose to die, you got to let them go. Let them go. Whether it be family, let them go. The time has come now where all of us now are going to have to choose. And that 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is about to play out right here in America. Now we waiting on the white horse. And on the white horse is the one who will sit faithful and true, the conquering Lion of Judah. I wish the Lord would unleash him now. We need him now more than ever. And that's real talk. But all these other prophecies must play out. And the bottom line is here. All we do here in the Lion's Den is bring you the facts, the frequently accurate, correct truths to get you right, to get you straight. There's no voting out of this. There's no political structure that's going to get us up out of this. No economic structure is going to get us up out of this. No more singing, dancing, nor marching. All that's out the window. The only thing that's going to get us up out of this is straight up warfare. And Christ and the angelic forces being sent here to subdue these beasts. Subdue the red horse and the pale horse. That's the only way now. That's the only way it's going to be, this problem will be rectified. But we got more for you. We got more videos. We want to show you. We talked about revealing who are the real culprits behind the eating up and destruction of this economy. We got more for you. We're going to show you more. And why AIPAC is picking our pockets, being allowed to pick our pockets. Oh, we done showed you already, but what we would like to do, the Most High said, produce your cause and bring forth your strong evidence. That's what we're gonna inundate you. We're gonna flood you with more videos of who is doing what and who's playing their part. Yeah, Trump and company and the Nazi bunch are definitely playing their red horse all the way out. Just like the Bible said in these last days that Esau would do. And the red horse was given power and given the sword. See, these horses in the Bible, again, like we all know, or maybe you don't know, are metaphorical and analogous. They're not literal horses, but they're people. But they're described as horses because we know a horse is an animal of power. And its strength, its ability to run. So, these 4 horsemen of the apocalypse meaning war, are now being acted out and shown. That's right. All these diseases that are being created right here in America by way of the CDC, Center Disease Control, but then you have other nations creating all kinds of pestilences. China, as the seventh answer, is making the connection on her end. Russia, Ukraine, everybody is playing their part. It is all about making the connections to the prophecies. And they play themselves out. You got Gog, Germany, Magog, Russia. Whether you care to believe it or not. But the Bible is happening. Some of you can debate to your heart's content. But still, biblical prophecy is what we're looking at. You stick to what the Bible is saying, you can't go wrong. And there's certain issues I've had to back up off of, but this here, I ain't got to back up off this. We see it happening in real time. Now, as Kermit continues to draw up, we're going to bring up other video. I'm not letting the red horse off the hook with all their lying on us. The reason I'm flooding you with all this information about who's robbing the system right now, because you got a lot of grifters out there, black and white. But I'm more concerned about the black grifters who are out here deliberately perpetrating lies and being so heartless and cruel, talking about we deserve to have our EBT cut off. When people who are on it, most black people who are on that EBT are the working poor. What kind of mindset must you have? Now here you attack the working poor, or you'll say, oh, they're cheating the wealth, cheating the system, but you willfully overlook the $40 billion that Trump just gave to Argentina and all the other money from these programs that have been shut down. And all that money is being hijacked by the mega rich. You'll willfully overlook what transpired 3 years ago in Jackson, Mississippi. The biggest welfare scam, con and hustle in United States history. Y'all will overlook that. That's why when we come here, we got a question. Some of y'all got the mark of the beast. You ain't got the stamp in your hand on your forehead, but you've been bought. You can tell like this Bible say, you can tell a tree by the fruit it produces. And that's why tonight we're revealing and showing you beyond all shadow of doubt. I'm hoping Karina can pull up the other videos because you need to see these videos. I want them shown. Because like I said, I'm tired of everybody coming for us. How come Judah, black Americans, we can't catch a freaking break, man? There's always somebody coming for us. So as we show and produce our cards and our evidence, we're going to knock all these frauds and all these lies about us out the box. And we want you to share this show and other episodes of The Lion's Den as this conversation continues. The mark of the beast, you all. Pay careful attention. Like I said, this war developing with Venezuela and Nigeria has other nations paying attention. We've already seen threats by the Chinese president and representatives letting it be known, yo, Trump and company, you come stepping to us, you come playing with us, it's going to be a problem. They're not playing. They are letting it be known what their intentions are. Nuclear war. They're not playing. When Donald Trump was talking about, oh, we're going to resume nuclear testing and neutron bombing and all that other stuff. Listen, y'all. This red horse and that pale horse, they already are planning. Pay attention now. You think they're not going to use neutron bombs here on the American citizenry? You think they won't do that? I know, I think there's a follow-up. There's some black woman shot one of the last remaining monkeys that escaped out there in Mississippi. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to come back to that. We're going to follow it up. But have you ever seen the movie Outbreak, where they drop a neutron bomb-like apparatus in that movie Outbreak to destroy that disease and virus the monkey was carrying? But now when the Civil War, and you know how Civil War is coming to this country? Have any of you been paying attention, as we showed to you last night on the Make of the Beast episode, how all of a sudden, all the leaders of this world, all the governance of the world, of America, the land of the free, home of the brave, are now moving on military installations? Now, what's up with that? Why are they moving on military bases? Did you hear that story? If you didn't, well, we giving it to you. Yeah, that's right. They all suddenly moving to military bases. Now, why is that? Oh, I know why. You know, like Stephen Miller, and all the other guys talking all that tough talk, with all these unhappy Americans now showing up at their doorstep. They scared. So they know that anytime you see someone scurrying like a rat to hide and look for protection, they know that what they're doing is dead wrong. They know it. So now they're moving on military bases. So we want y'all to pay attention. So the bottom line, we want y'all to pay attention now. Okay, I see smashing out. Okay, oh my goodness. Celaya Benya, don't pay. Leave Big Mississippi alone. Don't pay him no mind, please. Let's keep the energy going. Like I said, we're not making this stuff up. We want you to understand that we want you to get up off your behinds, get up off your duffs, and check these things out for yourself. All right? As I said, we've shown you thus far strong evidence as to who's robbing this country blind. But now, when they do roll out that beast mark, the literal chip, or whatever they're coming with, because they're going to come with it, make no mistakes. Are you ready? Is your faith sound and solid? Are some of you ready to resist this unto death, if need be? It's one thing to talk it, but now we're all being required to walk. When Christ asked the disciples, do you think you can all drink this cup of bitterness that I'm drinking? And they all answered, yes. Christ said, well, you speak wisely, because you better believe this cup I'm drinking, you're going to drink too. So we're going to continue on as the conversation continues and we produce our evidence in strong causes. Fair use, Shaw. Fair use. Seventh answer. Take it away.
Too. For millions of people across the country, Israel is not a kitchen table issue, and AIPAC knows that. But AIPAC wants people who are going to be loyal to AIPAC in Congress, so they run these smear campaigns against people who are willing to stick up for Palestinians. The pro-Israel lobby gets involved in a couple different ways. So United Democracy Project and Democratic Majority for Israel are linked to AIPAC. These groups, when they get involved, will spend millions attacking a candidate who is willing to criticize Israel. Notice anything about her? In the top picture, that's just Cori Bush. But in United Democracy Project's mailer, they elongated her forehead and protruded her lips. And while Cori Bush's race gained a lot of prominence nationally, Dave Min's primary against Joanna Weiss did not. They still spent millions of dollars attacking Dave Min, not because he was pro-Palestine or even critical of Israel. It's because he took an endorsement from J Street, which is just a slightly more liberal Jewish group. Did the ads attacking him involve Israel? Did they talk about it? No, they hit him for getting a DUI a couple years prior. And throughout all of these attacks, Israel is rarely, if ever, mentioned, even though this is about finding politicians who will toe AIPAC's line.
And we're back. See? You see how deep and you see how hardcore Israel has their hands up America's butt, and they're the puppeteers of Trump and company. You see how strong and how rough, rugged, and raw they come for anyone who criticizes them. You see why they are so strong on trying to take over social media in all of its aspects in these last 25 years? See, we're not making these things up. We're showing you who the mark of the beast and the perpetrators are in beast form. And when you look up the definition of the word beast, it is a wild, untamable, rancorous, rancor meaning destructive, vicious, evil, rabid, out of control monstrosity. And what do you call someone who would devise a thought to cut people off from eating? A beast? Donald Trump? What would you call someone who devises chemical poisoning of the water, air, the farmland, and everything else, creating viruses and pestilences right here on American shores? Bill Gates, the pale horse. Let's keep it local. What do you call people who devise a way to rip off hardworking people, and now bringing in automation and every other kind of AI, and so many other forms to take away the jobs from hardworking people. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, the Red Horse. That's right. Making war with the people. That when you tamper with someone's well-being, you better believe that those people are going to fight back eventually. No one likes a bully, and bullies ultimately get stepped to. So let's continue on. What do you call individuals who would green light putting paramilitary or actual military in neighborhoods, and then green light those paramilitary and military to attack people, and if need be, eliminate them? Oh, the Red Horse, the Pale Horse, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the rest of the Nazi bunch. That's what you call them. Stephen Miller. That's what you call who and what you call them. Recognize. See? And AIPAC got their hands and been having their hands in this proverbial incestuous. Oh yeah. Speaking of, wait, let me go back. And what would you call people who are molesting on the low young girls and young boys who have no life experience, who are being traumatized, supposedly committing suicide? What would you call people like, oh yeah, beast, like Donald Trump, former Prince Andrew, and so many others who are on the Epstein files? And speaking of, I'm a little taken aback, but the Democrats cleaned house yesterday in these local elections, man. Woo-wee.
Real reason that America supports Israel. 1942.
But go ahead, Seventh Answer. Let's roll the tape. Let's bring the evidence. Let's
Group
show
of
them.
over 500 Zionists hold the Biltmore Conference, creating the Biltmore Program. This was the birthplace of the Israel lobby. 1944, they began, in the words of founder of AIPAC, Cy Kennan, an unprecedented flood of telegrams, telephone calls, and letters that profoundly impressed the Capitol, evoking many assurances of support from congressmen. This worked. The Democratic Party platform in 1944 read, "We favor unrestricted Jewish colonization of Palestine." The Democrats won. Franklin D. Roosevelt dies in 1945. 1948, President Harry S. Truman recognizes Israel against the advice of the State Department led by George C. Marshall. He called it a transparent dodge to win a few votes based on domestic political considerations. He was right. Truman's appointment secretary Matthew J. Connolly later said that Truman's policy was shaped by David K. Niles and myself. We were the fundamental movers. He said it was a matter of more or less just pure politics to me. Why am I telling you this? I thought you deserved to know. Find out more here. I'm going to tell you the real reason that America supports Israel. 1942, a group of over 500 Zionists hold the Biltmore Conference, creating the Biltmore Program. This was the birthplace of the Israel lobby. 1944, they began, in the words of founder of AIPAC, Cy Kennan, an unprecedented flood of telegrams, telephone calls, and letters that profoundly impressed the Capitol, evoking many assurances of support from congressmen. This worked. The Democratic Party platform in 1944 read, "We favor unrestricted Jewish colonization of Palestine." The Democrats won. Franklin D. Roosevelt dies in 1945. 1948, President Harry S. Truman recognizes Israel against the advice of the State Department led by George C. Marshall. He called it a transparent dodge to win a few votes based on domestic political considerations. He was right. Truman's appointment secretary Matthew J. Connolly later said that Truman's policy was shaped by David K. Niles and myself. We were the fundamental movers. He said it was a matter of more or less just pure politics to me. Why am I telling you this? I thought you deserved to know. Find out more here. I'm going to tell you the real reason that America supports Israel. 1942, a group of over 500 Zionists hold the Biltmore Conference, creating the Biltmore Program. This was the birthplace of the Israel lobby. 1944, they began, in the words of founder of AIPAC, Cy Kennan, an unprecedented flood of telegrams, telephone calls, and letters that profoundly impressed the Capitol, evoking many assurances of support from congressmen. This worked. The Democratic Party platform in 1944 read, "We favor unrestricted Jewish colonization of Palestine." The Democrats won. Franklin D. Roosevelt dies in 1945. 1948, President Harry S. Truman recognizes Israel against the advice of the State Department led by George C. Marshall. He called it a transparent dodge to win a few votes based on domestic political considerations. He was right. Truman's appointment secretary Matthew J. Connolly later said that Truman's policy was shaped by David K. Niles and myself. We were the fundamental movers. He said it was a matter of more or less just pure politics to me. Why am I telling you this? I thought you deserved to know. Find out more here. I'm going to tell you the real reason that America supports Israel. 1940.
We driving it home. You see, America created a monster that they can't put down now. See, identity theft. People who had no business being in the land of Israel yesterday and today, and now here they are, believing their own hype. Yeah, that's right. Now you understand why America has to go through with this facade. Because see, by transplanting those people from Europe into the land of Israel, they committed great blasphemy, you know. They created the state of Israel. When you look up the word state in its many definitions, a state is a nation that is politically created. And the state of Israel was created 1944, but who pushed it though? Who made the state of Israel the power that it was? Two black men, if you want to call them that, Ralph Bunche and one Charles White. It was they who went and campaigned to all the dark nations to accept those people coming into that land. And those other nations knew, and America knew, they had no business being there. They knew the deal. You know who else knew the deal? You know who else who knew? Adolf Hitler Schicklgruber, commonly known as Adolf Hitler, who said in his many writings that America holds the jewels of God. They knew who the real Jews are, but they transplanted those people in, and look at it now. See what happens when you blaspheme and go against the Lord's edict? Rather than letting us go like the Bible said you're supposed to, you dared to put and transplant people that had no business being there. And now they've been a thorn in your side ever since, America. My. All the tangled web we conceive when we try to deceive. Or all what a tangled web we weave when we seek out and try to deceive. And that's why you see things unraveling the way they are right now. As the conversation continues, we're your host, the Seventh Answer, Lady Karima, along with your brother, Dark Storm, also known as Baby Hebrew. As you can see, we're unapologetically producing our evidence, producing sources, producing everything to show, again, that what is happening in America right now is not by random cause, but by deliberate action, conspiracy, and brutal action. And now, all of us, as we now come into the finality of this world empire, we all must make choices. We all gonna have to choose on what side we gonna take. The mark of the beast is not just a stamp. It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It is actors and perpetrators in the area of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the 7 vials of heat, pestilence, disease, war, famine. And here we are, about to experience famine right here on the shores of America because they want to starve people out. They want people to bow to their will. They want to be God on earth. And now these maniacs are willing and are ready to set up to try to fight the Lord himself. Man, yo, we're in some very extreme, perilous times, as the Bible said we would be. We're going to continue to move on. We're going to continue to bring forth more and more evidence showing you what the Lord requires us and why we have to bring all this to the fore. What the Seventh Answer and myself are doing, we are doing what? Our bid in the spirit of Ezekiel 3:17. I as a watchman, Karima as a watchwoman. And we have been made to be watchmen and watchwomen to the house of Israel. You so-called black folks out there and others under the rainbow of the 12 tribes of Israel. You're being warned. You are now being prepared and shown all the evidence that you need to be shown and given to make your decision on, are you going to ride with the Bible, the laws and the commandments, and the one true God of Israel, or not? And oh yeah, on that note, as always, we're required by the one true God of Israel, his name being Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahushua, the Mashiach, Christ, to all governing bodies of this world, especially here in America. The one true God of Israel, his name Yahweh. He wants you to know it is time for you to let our people go. And if you do not let us go, that we may serve him, then all you better do is brace yourself for the onslaught that he is about to allow Christ and the angels to come here and issue. You can harden your hearts to your heart's content. You can walk around and be willfully wicked and evil all you want. But all that's going to do is increase his wrath and his anger on your heads. Your unbelief is not going to stop his wrath, because all of you right now, you're playing your part that he said you would as one of the many beasts and one of the many men of perdition in hell, and you're revealing yourselves. It won't be long before some of you take off your mask and reveal your true form. We get it. We understand. But all these evils that you're committing are going to bring your punishment when it does come into play. Ooh, he said you're going to get double. Double. Now, I'm going to say this here. The only thing that's going to be off the table is sexual assaulting and all that beast-style behavior. You won't have that happening. But when the Lord said double, when I look at what he did allow for our people, the black horse of the apocalypse to suffer, man, I can't begin to imagine what he gonna have y'all catching, but you are gonna catch it. You should have repented and reformed when you were given it, but you didn't. Even now, some of you out there are perpetrating acts against our people, and you're doing it willfully, even in the face of your own destruction and judgment. Some of you harden your hearts, knowing you're wrong. But hey, no problem. Not a problem. If you want to go out with a bang, that's exactly what you're going to get. Nuclear destruction is definitely coming. That warning and admonition from the president of China a week ago or so, that's a very serious warning. President Trump just recently put back into effect the testing of nuclear weaponry. And so, as we continue on with the conversation as it continues, again, we're going to bring more evidence. I hope there's some other videos that I want to uncover and delve into. As you see, Seventh Answers pulling them up. All right, but what we're showing you is that, listen, when we come here, using rhyme and repetition, we want you to understand that we're not making anything up. And what we're doing is showing you strong evidence to prove our cause and why it is now up to you out there in Lions Den listening. Lion Den land, listening to this communication, that you must now take the reins of responsibility to get your act together, to repent, reform, and get on the good foot, stay vigilant, stay sober, and stay ready. As we definitely about to go into all-out warfare. It's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be glamorous. But it is indeed a very necessary roughness that we're going to have to face. There are too many of our people who are way too wicked and still are in agreement with this wicked society, and still want to dance with the devil and still make deals and agreements with the devil. And on that note, this goes out to you, Nicki Minaj. I see you are in agreement with Donald Trump wanting to bring war to Nigeria for the killing of Christians. I hope you know, Miss Minaj, that in Nigeria, right, those Christians that are being killed are not white people. I hope you know that the majority of the Christians over there in Nigeria are black folk. But I'm going to come back to that. We're going to continue to produce our evidence and produce our cause. This is another evidence that the Seventh Answer has delved into and brought up. Fair use, Shaw. Let's go to work, Seventh Answer.
If this capital crumbles to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, our cooperation with Israel.
As long as I have the opportunity to serve in Congress, I'm going to make sure that that aid continues in a strongly robust fashion, no conditions.
For as long as I live, for as long as I have the privilege of serving in the Senate from New York, I will unflinchingly, unstintingly, and with all of my strength be Shomer Yisrael, a guardian of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Yisrael Chai.
I want you to run that video again. See, what you're looking at are certain politicians, and they're showing you the monetary amounts they're getting from AIPAC. I don't know if you'll be able to run that video again, but those are some very prominent people. You got Charles Schumer out of New York, Hakeem Jeffries, and a very other notable face. I'm gonna leave her alone though, but she leaves me confused, given the wonderful things she did do for black folks. It is disappointing that she would forsake all that wonderful work to do this. But if you can run that again, those were all individuals who are in AIPAC's pocket, in Israel's pocket, who are hired servants and apostates of hell supporting this ruse by identity thieves. But if you can't rerun it, no problem. I think you all out there in Lions Den Land, you saw enough. And this is why this society is on the chopping block. Amos 9 and 8. For behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom. And I will, not might, not maybe, he said, I will destroy it from off the face of this earth. And that's where we're at. That is where we're at right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And now, as we begin to do our countdown to close out, we've given you 3 full hours of nonstop, hard-hitting evidence. Get it back on Miss Minaj. Listen, and listen to me good. You shouldn't be running off at the mouth about political affairs, spiritual affairs in the area of politics, and not know the full story and full gist of what this whole issue with Nigeria is about. See, please understand that Nigeria is sitting on oodles and boodles of oil-rich land. And America wants that oil. This is not about the crusade that Donald Trump and company want to go in and save Christians out of Nigerian clutches, when here, right here in America, Miss Minaj, Black Christians are being hanged, lynched, burned, gunned down, and every other kind of atrocity you can think that can bring about someone's death right here. And what is America doing about it? Huh? Huh? Where's that anti-black hate crime bill the Democrats was bringing to law when Joe Biden made that promise, Miss Minaj? Where were you at to criticize that? And now you want to sit up here and you want to condone what Donald J. Trump and the Nazi bunch are doing or plan to do in Nigeria? Seriously? You're entitled to your opinion, but sister, you really need to slow your roll. Clearly, you are socially and politically naive to the years and decades long struggle in Nigeria, Venezuela, trying to keep out from under American takeover. I realize you're probably a mid to late 80s baby or 90s baby, and that's why I'm going to forgive your naivete if you should get the privilege of being able to hear this broadcast. But there's certain affairs you should leave enough alone. So with all that being said, we're now going to close out. You've now been thoroughly informed and entertained, but in a good way, here on The Conversation Continues. And we always give our honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow. We want to thank you all for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher, and forgive some of the technical difficulties and encounters along the way. Now, for those of you who may tune in right now and you've missed this live broadcast, don't go into panic or despair. There's the beauty of replaying that you can exercise. All right? Share this video. Invite a friend or two to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you've been unsubscribed, go back and get resubscribed. Like I always say, it's always the seventh answer and my pleasure to be one of the many vessels that bring to you the divine biblical truth that you need to hear to get you all right and get you all set for what's coming down this road. And what's coming is not going to be pretty. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are in full effect right now. The pale horse and the red horse is the primary horse that we are going to be battling. And they're taking shape in the form of Donald J. Trump. They're taking form Vladimir Putin and all these other empires and countries gearing up and preparing for war. Not only with each other, but most notably for the return of Christ. As this is we, the foundational Black Americans, the family of Judah, nation of Israel, our resurrection and return to power. So, as we close out, seventh answer, do you have any parting commentary you want to give to the people?
No, so thanks for tuning in. Oh, yeah. Ezekiel 30, 38, 39. To speak of may God, looking at that like Russia. But look at that one. But subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. And like, share, tell a friend.
And don't worry, y'all. We're gonna come back, and I want to thank our here in Conversation Chatland, the comment section, Tyrone the Camp Slayer, Jay Snake. What's going on? I want to thank Salaya Ben Yah. Okay, why you gotta go? Okay, Salah. You know what we've been saying? I've been asking Tyrone what's up with that too. The people that stole the 70 million on your watch in your state perhaps think you're a joke. Oh, come on now. But yeah, Tyrone, you were asleep at the wheel on that one, bro. And you should care about the money. You know why? Because Mississippi is the poorest state in the United States of America. And you should want your people to be fed and given their fair share. Not only has the money been stolen, but look at the water. It's still polluted, my brother. Not to mention all those killings still transpiring in Mississippi. Just want you to take into consideration all those things. But moving on, Smashing Idol, thank you as well. And with all that being said, We'll be right back at you, brothers and sisters. Again, this has been another high-powered episode of The Lion's Den. The conversation continues, talking about what's on your mind. And as always, we urge you, don't just take our word for it. Get up off your Abakatutskis and check out things for yourself. And in closing, the 7th Dance Lady Karima and I, Dark Storm, once again will thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher, and you're learning something, no doubt, has just transpired. And as always, in the spirit of our dearly departed brother, Don Cornelius, we say to you all, Shalom. We hope that we bring you peace. Ahab, because everything we do here is a labor of love. And Napash, please watch over, guard, and protect your soul. And we are up out of here, y'all.
The home of the brave. War is coming, Putin's on the stage. Conflict and bloodshed, a world in disarray. The drums of war are beating night and day. The ghosts of Crimea still linger in the air. As West's might is flexed without a care. The annexation's bitter taste, still fresh and raw. The West warnings fall on deaf ears as Putin draws his lawn and tanks roll in. The guns blaze and roar. The people suffer as their future's torn. The world holds its breath as the conflicts wage. A new Cold War's brewing and the stakes are engaged. The language of diplomacy's lost as insults fly. The world trembles as the war drums beat and the soldiers die. The innocents cry, the mothers weep and mourn, as Putin's ambition leaves a trail of blood that's born. It's tariffs and trade wars, a famine inside, economic hardship, a global plight. The scales of justice unbalanced and worn, a cry for help as the people are torn. The markets tremble as the tariffs rise. A trade war's chaos as the world denies. The impacts fell from the farms to the floor as America's allies become its foes once more. The rhetoric's heated as the tweets ignite. A global economy on the brink of fight. The WTO's rules are cast aside with disdain as Trump's protectionism leaves the world in pain. The farmers suffer as their crops rot in the ground. The consumers pay as prices rise. economy on the edge of a cliff as Trump's policies leave the world in a rift. Seize pandemic, a global health scare, masks and lockdowns, people everywhere. The virus spreads, a pestilence so dire. A world in lockdown, a future unsure. The markets crash as the virus spreads fast. A global panic as the death tolls amass. The WHO's warnings are ignored at first as China's secrecy leaves the world in the dark and cursed. The lockdowns and quarantines, a new normal's born as the world's economies are brought to their knees in scorn. The people suffer as their freedoms are curtailed. The virus knows no borders as it spreads unchecked and unveiled. The world is united in its fear and dismay as she's leadership is put on trial each day. The pandemic's impact will be felt for years to come as the world struggles to find a way to overcome. Netanyahu's policies, a death toll so high. Gaza's cries, a humanitarian sigh. The world watches as lives are lost. A call for peace, but the violence costs. The Gaza Strip, a tiny land so worn. A people trapped with no way to be reborn. The blockade stranglehold, a slow and painful death as the world condemns the settlement's cruel breath. The rockets fly, the Iron Dome's might can't stop the bloodshed as the people take flight. The cycle of violence seems endless and cold as the death toll rises. The world's hearts grow old. The two-state solution, a distant dream as the settlements expand and the Palestinians scream. The world demands justice, but the cries fall on deaf ears as Netanyahu's policies bring only tears